American comic books, we know, is in a bad spot. It's leaving an opportunity for a lot of us to become, basically throw our hats in and become great in our own rights, because it's a thriving market. It's just the people that have been dominating it for a while have unfortunately went the other way with it. Right? We know what's going on with Marvel. It's not exclusive to Marvel and DC, but some of these long-standing publications as well, which is what the topic of conversation is today, have been on the same thing, in which they have adopted this weird sort of idea of appealing to people that don't buy comics while trying to and also insult people that do. Because the appeal, unfortunately, is going to folks that don't. It's like you have a core consumer base, and it's been that way for a very long time. It's a type of person, type of man and woman that buys comics, that goes to the shop on a Wednesday, that's interested in the genre. And it's already been established. Now, that doesn't mean you can't get other demographics into it. It just means that there's a core demographic that you at least should want, I'd imagine, to appeal to in order to at least be great in it. Marvel and DC, for example, has adopted this idea of appealing to like Twitter normies and people that don't buy books, and their sales are obviously indicative of this. And you've seen, though, however, as we've mentioned many times, that this marketplace hasn't gone anywhere. We see manga growing in the West, which proves just that. But here's another example of this coming from Heavy Metal Magazine, for example, which has been around for since the 70s, if I'm not mistaken. And just to set the scene here, a female character, for you guys that aren't viewing this, ended up getting like some armor, right? And they're like covered and like that wasn't what the character was never. And a lot of obviously the comic book people that are reading this think that this is sort of this like Puritan approach that they didn't want. They're covering her up, trying to appease to this group of weirdos. And instead of Heavy Metal like dealing, and I think there's a way that they could have dealt with this. They thought to start insulting like basically fans. And here we go. Heavy Metal Magazine, they had a CBR, which you're reading from the Bound Again the Comics. If you're watching this, they had a CBR, I guess, interview. And they had mentioned all of this, that, obviously they're changing her up and she has like this, basically just find a full piece of battle armor and some new war or something that she's going to be sort of participating in. Apparently it's going to be temporary, but people have looked at it and they're looking at it from a standpoint of what the hell, like, what is this? Like, this is the new, if you're watching us live, this is the new piece, right? Obviously some people, like this guy says, they finally covered her up. And he's saying most people have more than one outfit, it turns out. So they're saying, like, coming directly from, like, we're looking at posts right now, coming directly from Heavy Metal Magazine. Does changing clothes kill people? We have no idea. Do you not change your underwear? This explains so much. Says, this guy says, I'm torn. This is coming from, I think, Instagram posts. This is coming from Heavy Metal. This is how they're responding to their customers. While I generally despise Bikini Armor as a whole, I also have a severe disdain for the complete changing of iconic characters and looks. What point does it become an entirely different character? And where exactly is the ridiculous line for scantily clad heroines? Have you read the book to understand the context of the outfit, or are you just making assumptions? Trust us, read it and you'll understand. Also, people should change clothes that looks that natural. They would take things to a follow-up Instagram post. As you can see, it reads below, it has come to our attention that some of you are confused, blah, blah, blah. We'd like to remind you that you too can change clothes. So they're being snarky about it, which is fine, I guess. But this is their customers, right? This is not like random Joe Blows that they're like, it's like making fun of SJWs. SJWs aren't going to buy your shit. It's fine. But like your customer is a completely different animal, right? Along with a message and official statement, relax, guys. It's just armor. We know change is scary, but you got this. It's heavy metal. We have always experimented and pushed the envelope because that's art. It changes, it grows, it evolves. Push the boundaries. They added, if you are uncomfortable with the change and growth, then you will go the way of the dinosaur. Instead, we encourage you to open your mind and take the ride on with heavy metal. It's one of those instances where, like this right here, the changes suck. Respect your fans, says Steve. We don't want fans like you. We are good, thank you. Like, I understand, and I say this from a creator standpoint. And they claim right here, for example, we did not change it for any political reasons. We did it because it made sense in the story. This is all pretty clear if you read the series. So they're claiming it's not for political reasons. Now, whether people take it one way, I mean, it is. I get it. And I get that you want to have some sort of creative freedom, right? And I think that's important from a creator. Like, you got to be, it's a line, obviously, right? That you don't want to, you don't want to blur, right? It's like, yeah, you don't want the entire audience to dictate specifically what it is you want to do, but it's also, you want to provide something for the audience. But what's happening right now is how they're basically insulting, like, oh, you don't change your draws. Like, that's not like that may not be the most appropriate way to respond to your customers who are worried that what it is that you're doing. Like, your customers, again, it's one thing to make fun of the weirdos who don't buy your shit. That's one thing. That's one thing. That's a completely different animal. I get it. Because I do it too. But your customers, it's your customers, man. And that's why what you're seeing with guys that have been around forever, like Heavy Metal Magazine and Marvel, DC, and all these guys, people that have been around for a while, they're like, okay, we've been around. We're a mainstay. We're going to remain a mainstay. And you have to live up to us. Right? Like, you have to live up to us. That's what they're doing. A lot of these guys that have been around for a while, that's what they're doing. It's like, you have to live up to us. You're not the customer. You're just a person that's here for the ride. Like the person of social media folk, which may get fired after all of this, at least Renegade is basically saying that, like, get off the train or ride with us. We don't, like, dude. Creative freedom is an important thing, and you should have that. But the folks that are worried aren't the weirdos. They're the customers. You have to be smart enough to be able to decipher this. And if you can't, well, you end up like what you're dealing with right now. And that's, you got cocky. Guys, I got to continue to show you guys examples of this, because it's an example not just of what not to do. It's also a form of inspiration, because if you simply avoid that mistake right there, you'd be surprised how much money there is to be made in this genre. Just respect your customers. That's the thing that's lost. I'm not talking about the weirdos who try to come and like change your shit to suit their personal political or social political views. That's not what I'm saying. But your actual customers are a completely different animal. They are the ones that keep the train moving. And you have to be cognizant of it. And if you are not aware of that, and I think maybe what happens is you get guys that have existed for so long where it's like they think that they inherit the support. Relax. Respect your customers. And if you are a guy that is creating an alternative, that ain't the way to respond to your customers. Respect them. Doesn't mean you got to do everything that every single individual wants. No. Dare I say it's a little more nuanced than that. But holy shit, that's an example of how you don't deal with it. You just watched a clip from my podcast, For Canon's Sake. Catch us live at 12 p.m. throughout the week over at youtube.com/YoungRipper59 and follow us over at odyssey.com/@YoungRipper59. If you want to watch the entire video cast after the show is over, just be sure to become a member on the YouTube channel. Of course, the full audio portion of the podcast is available for free on all major digital platforms, or just visit forcanonsake.com.